4 years, and I mean they've seen your budget estimates. The last two budgets come in, basically under what was the reality. I mean we're pre-funding the rainy day fund at this point. We're so far ahead. Why wouldn't they look at this and say, oh, there's no problem going away from Tim Keene's numbers. We know he's coming in low, and we know that he often underestimates.
Because that's how you start to get yourself in trouble. That it's just like when you look at your investments. Past history, past returns are not necessarily any guide to future returns. I mean, let's be conservative. I mean, we ought to want to budget conservatively and have things break our way later and then figure out what to do, rather than in advance assuming that things are going to break our way and make spending decisions or other budgetary decisions. And then 6 months, a year, 18 months from now, find ourselves running behind plan and having to make adjustments. Look, the governor has his, I mentioned the governor and his perspective on this, that, he's seen it, he's seen hard work to get balance undone when people stop being vigilant about and stop operating with a cautious and conservative mindset. Again, I've been through some of that myself. As you know, I was here in the Taft administration 5 consecutive years. We made mid-year budget reductions or had to seek legislative changes in order to get the budget back to balance. So, not unlike the governor, I have my own history. And let me tell you, this last 4 years has been much more pleasant than those 5 years were. I mean, it's much easier to deal with, moderate revenue overages and moderate spending underage than it is the reverse. And again, because of term limits, many folks don't remember that. They just kind of take for granted that the last 4 years is how it always works. Well, let me assure you, it's not always how it works. And again, people are kind of assuming that it was okay to take LSC revenue estimates in the past because, we'll just revise up when we get to conference and everything will be fine. Well, there's no guarantee that that's the case.
We have time for one more question.
You mentioned the GDP numbers were disappointing this time around, and it looks like the income tax numbers over the last couple of months have kind of slowed down as well, haven't they?
We're still ahead, but we've had a few months where we missed.
Do you have any reason to believe right now that you might be coming back later with projections that are actually going to be lower than what you've already presented to lawmakers? I
mean, I feel like this year we're going to be fine. I mean, FY15, I feel like our revenue estimates we're going to meet the revenue estimates, and we're going to be moderately over, as we have in the last couple of years. For 16 and 17, I mean, that is the question. OBM will convene our Council of Economic Advisors in late May. We will look at the latest economic projections. We'll look at all the revenue information that we've had through 11 months of the fiscal year, and we'll make revised revenue estimates for 16-17. We'll do the same working with Medicaid on Medicaid cost projections. Folks should not count on those getting better. I don't know how they're going to land. Again, these economic numbers concern me.
Do you think it was a mistake not to get the business community on board with these tax proposals, a la 2005 when you had the business roundtable?
We tried to work with the business. We reached out to people, said, "What's your plan?" We didn't get a lot back from people. Okay, 2005 was a tremendous tax cut for the business community. Over $1.4 billion annually. It was, kind of easy for them to get on board. So, they're not really comparable situations. I know there's a lot of talk about there, that's what we should have done, but they're not really comparable situations.
Can you say how much of the business pushback is the business community wanting all dessert and no vegetables in their tax plan?
Like all of it. All of it.
Tax increases are okay as long as they're on
Somebody else, yeah, exactly. Okay, my press guy says I have to stop.